Hi guys, welcome back. And today is day 5 out of 50 of the SAT Math Prep series. Today we'll be looping back to our first problem set that we tackled in the first video of algebra. These problems, some of them are a little difficult even though it is just algebra. And yeah, we'll jump into our first problem. A cargo helicopter delivers only 100-pound packages and 120-pound packages. For each delivery trip, the helicopter must carry at least 10 packages, and the total weight of the packages can be at most 1,100 pounds. What is the maximum number of 120-pound packages that the helicopter can carry per trip? Okay, so only 100-pound and 120-pound bags. We're going to call 100-pound bags small bags and 120 pounds large bags. And we're going to write out mathematically what this problem is telling us on the paper right here. So it says for each trip, the helicopter must carry at least 10 packages. So S plus L is greater than or equal to 10. Because S is the number of 100-pound packages and L is the number of 120-pound packages. And then it also tells us that the total weight, so 100 times S times 100 or plus 120 times L is less than or equal to 1,100. And it's asking for the maximum number of large bags. So we're going to get rid of S right here with this equation. So we know that S is greater than or equal to 10 minus L. We're just simply manipulating the first equation. And we can plug this in to this variable. 100 times 10 minus L plus 120 times L is less than or equal to 1,100. And before we keep going, I'm going to explain why you kind of ignore the greater than or equal to sign. It's asking for the maximum amount of large bags. So you could theoretically have many more small bags, but if you're taking the minimum amount of small bags, since this is greater than or equal to, if you're taking the equal to, that's the minimum amount. So this is really just S equals to 10 minus L. And then that's why it works in here. I hope that makes sense. It's a little confusing. And then just distribute. So we have 1,000 minus 100L plus 120L is less than or equal to 1,100. And then we just simplify. So this is going to be 100 on this side and 20L on this side. So L is less than or equal to 5. So that's our answer. A little difficult. Not too bad though. Just know your inequality signs. Okay. This is a hard problem. So we have our table of values here. The table gives the coordinates of 2 points on a line in the xy plane. The y-intercept of the line is k minus 5, comma b, where k and b are constants. What is the value of b? Okay, so before we even look at the table, what do we know about a y-intercept? So I'm just going to draw a little graph here, and then we have a linear line like that. The y-intercept would be here, correct? And then whatever value this is, say something comma b, we know that something is 0, because the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So looking here, we know that this value is a 0. And then b is unknown. So k minus 5 is equal to 0, so k is equal to 5. And now we can plug this value into all the table values to kind of simplify it down and not make it too complicated. You could also do it without this, but this is the easier way in my opinion. So we have 5 comma 13, plugging in the k, and then 5 plus 12, or 5 plus 7, which is 12, and then minus 15. So these are our two values. And then if it's asking for b, we know, let's write our linear equation. Y is equal to m, which is the slope, x plus b. Okay, so we're gonna have this. We're gonna find the slope first. So y is equal to the slope. So we're gonna have 13 minus negative 15 over 5 minus 12. For slope, just taking a step back, slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we just chose this as y1 or y2, that is x2. This is y1, that is x1, if that helps clarify. And then times our x value plus b. So simplifying this, we have 13 minus that is 28, because a negative minus a negative is a positive. 5 minus 12 is negative 7 times x plus b. So scrolling down, we have y is equal to negative 4x plus b. Now, we still don't have our b value, even though we just did all of that work. So what we need to do now is plug in one of our given one of our given points to solve for b. Because if we plug in for y and x, all we're left with are constants, and we can solve for b. So I'm going to choose to plug in 5, 13. Smaller numbers, easier to deal with. So we have 13 is equal to negative 4 times 5 plus b. So we have, oh, what was that? B is equal to negative 20, carry that over to that side, and then 33. So that's our answer for this fill-in question. A little harder, but always like try and make the problem easier from the get-go. So this kind of helped it simplify the problem a little. Okay, looking at our next problem. 3x is equal to 36y minus 45. One of the two equations in a system of linear equations is given. The system has no solution. Which equation could be the second equation in this system? Okay, so whenever you get a problem like this, they're either going to ask you for no solution, all real solutions, or one solution. When it's linear, at least. So right here, it's no solution. So that means these all have to deal with the slope of these lines. So when it's no solution, the slope m is going to be the same, but b is going to be different. For all real solutions, they're both going to be the same. And then for one real solution, they're both going to be different because they'll eventually intersect. So no solution, we're looking for the same slope and a different y-intercept. We're going to put this in our standard y equals mx plus b form. So we have 36y is equal to 3x plus 45. And we're doing this because it helps us see what our slope actually is. So we have y is equal to 1 over 12x. And then what can we divide this by? We can divide it by 9, so that's 5 over 4. And then this is our equation for the equation we're given. Now we're looking for the same slope. So what's our slope here? M is equal to 1 over 12. So we're looking for an equation in the answer choices that give us the same slope and a different y-intercept, but we can look for slope first. So this equation, x equals 4y. So y is going to be equal to 1/4 x, and our slope is 1/4. Is that the same as 1/12? No. 1/3 x is equal to 4y. So we have y is equal to 1/12 x. We're just solving for the y. Is 1/12 the same as x? Or is the same as m that we found? Yes. So this would be our answer. And the y-intercept here is 0. It's just not written explicitly. And it's different from our y-intercept here, which is 5/4. So that would work. And we're not going to solve for these other ones because that would just be a waste of time. But if you want to, feel free and pause the video. So yeah, that's three. That's a hard problem. I don't think it's that difficult. So 3 points to grab if you know all of these topics. No solution, all real solutions, and one solution. Looking at our next problem, we have a system of equations again. If x comma y satisfies the system of equations above, what is the value of y? So remember, when it gives you these systems of equations, we're always adding them and trying to isolate for a variable. So here, gave us kind of an easy setup. I'm going to write it down again. You should too, since you're going to have to do it on paper anyways. You can write on the screen. So negative x plus x, what is that? 0, these cancel out. Y plus 3y, that's 4y. And then negative 3.5 plus 9.5 is 6. We solve for y now. It's equal to 3/2. So that would be our answer. You would input that into the computer, or you could input it simply as 1.5. Either is a valid answer. So if you notice any patterns from this algebra section, since this is now the second time we're doing it, a lot of system of equations. So you want to know your rules for no solution, one solution, and all real solutions for those intercepts, as we were talking back here. And you want to know your like form of a line, y equals mx plus b. You want to know how to find your slope, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, and just basic algebra knowledge that you should try and have down before you go into this test to get the maximum amount of points possible. So thank you guys for joining me on this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Please subscribe if this did help.